about Mike. What's your reaction to that type of injury?
I feel horrible for the guy. He's such a great teammate, such a great friend, and anytime you go through an injury like that, it's got to be tough. And so we, as a team, have to do our best to be there for him, help him out however we can, and know that he's going to come back stronger than ever.
What are the adjustments you make personnel-wise with Mike done for the year now?
I think you just got to rely on the guys behind him to step up and do their job. And thankfully we've had a ton of reps with them so far. So looking forward to seeing those guys compete.
Justin, as far as developing trust with the receiver, how important is that, and how do you go about doing that? I guess I'm specifically talking about a guy like Josh Palmer, who you've been throwing to obviously since 2021. How does that trust get built with a receiver?
I think probably just getting reps with him, whether it's in practice or whether it's in games, getting the timing down, knowing where he's going to be, and understanding the type of ball that I need to deliver to him.
Going back to when he was a rookie, he was that guy that was sort of out there every day, after those training camp practices, sort of being there for you when you wanted to get more throws in. How important were those moments, sort of early on, in terms of building that trust with Josh?
A ton. They're reps, and so they're all valuable. And he did a great job of being out there and wanting to get better. And he's done a great job over the past couple of years of, perfecting his craft. And he's still out there working right now. So I'm not surprised by all of his success.
You mentioned, practice reps, game reps, both of them are valuable. But is there any part of it where, you can throw to a guy in practice, you can throw to a guy after practice, but there's a certain part of it that you can't learn about a guy until you're really, in a game and in live action?
I think if you treat every practice rep like a game rep, you're able to get that accomplished. And I think we've done a great job of that here, of treating every practice, of every rep, like, hey, this is the most important one. So to have guys that focus like that, I think that means a lot to our offense.
What did you learn about Josh, last year when Keenan and Mike were both out and he was sort of the de facto number one wide receiver for you guys? What did you learn about him through that whole process? Obviously, a year for you that you felt like you grew a lot and learned a lot as a quarterback as well.
Yeah, he stepped up big time, and we found out that he's a competitor and he wants to be the best, and he wants to go out there and he wants to make big plays, and he's able to do that. And so we can trust him, we rely on him, and you can put him all over the field, a bunch of different positions, and he's done a great job picking up everything that we've asked him to do.
Coming into this season, I know how excited you were to have all your receivers healthy for the first time in some time, and then this happens to Mike. I know injuries happen, but mentally, what kind of how do you deal with that? How much of a bummer is that psychologically, mentally, to lose him?
Yeah, it's always tough to lose a guy like that. You feel horrible for him, and as a team, kind of like I said earlier, we have to be there for him and help him through this. And it's an awfully tough situation. Personally, been through there before, so that's what's important. But to rely on the guys behind him to step up and know that it's a long season. That's part of the NFL, and guys are going to get hurt. There's adversity, but it's how you react to it. So if we just got to trust that the guys behind him are going to step up and do their job and make some plays.
You're the only quarterback who has started the first 3 games and not given the ball away. Is there anything that you can pinpoint as to why you've been able to have that success this far?
I think having a great plan. It starts with Kellen and our quarterback coach and everyone in that quarterback room. They've done a great job of preparing me and treating every rep like it's a game rep. And to have receivers that go up and fight for the ball, and an offensive line that has done a great job protecting us. And I think running backs as well who've done a great job in protection, picking up blitzers and extra pressures like that. So a lot goes into it, but I think practice is one of the biggest things too.
Sunday was probably not as clean as what you guys wanted, but a win's a win in this league. What I'm asking you is that a step in learning how to win games? Do you believe in that, the way you guys pulled this thing out on Sunday?
I think you're trying to win every single game, and whether it's through the air, on the ground, whether it's offense or defense, it takes all 3 phases. And so I thought, as an offense, as a defense, and as special teams, I thought we all stepped up big time. And the defense came up with some big stops when we needed it to, and the offense went down and scored the ball when we needed it to. So, it's not going to be always pretty, but to have 3 phases that fight for one another, for each other, I think that's big for our team.
To be as successful as you were passing the ball, considering how much they blitzed, I think it was 41 of your 49 dropbacks. What does that do for you moving forward, knowing that if a team is going to play you that way and send that many guys after you in the pass rush, that you can still, be efficient and play the way that you did?
I think it starts with having a good plan, and I think that starts up front. And Coach Nuge, Kellen and Doug, they put together a great plan offensively, and we felt tight in our protections and making sure that everything was blocked up. And we watched a ton of film and saw whatever they were going to bring, and we felt like we were prepared going into the week. And anytime you feel like you're prepared, you're going to play better. So as long as we're putting together a good plan, protection-wise, I think that gives us a shot up front to do some special things.
Was there any point in the game where you were, I guess, like surprised at how much they were blitzing? It's like the highest rate any quarterback's been blitzed since like 2012. Like, was there any point in the game where you were like, again, really? Like,
that's a good question. I don't think during the game we thought too much of it. I think you just go out there and you react to it, and you try not to think too much about what they're doing, and just go out and see the field for what it is and react to it. And I think that's one of those great things about having such a tight quarterback room, is that we're able to go off the sideline, talk about it, discuss it, talk exactly about what they're bringing each drive. And so to have Stick and to have Max and Doug and Kellen, they see the game really well. So it helps me a ton being able to come off the field and talk to them.
But maybe after watching it on film, did you have that reaction at all?
Yeah, it was a lot. There was a lot of pressure, but kind of like I said, I thought we had a great plan. And so it starts up front. Those guys battled, and the running backs did a great job picking up their blitzers too.
What progress have you seen from Quentin the last couple of weeks?
A ton. He's one of those guys that's going to have to step up big time, and we're expecting big things from him. And he's a smart player. He's really athletic, and you got to just get the ball in his hands, and something special is going to happen. So, he's done a great job battling so far.
With the Raiders coming in town, do you guys place any extra importance on AFC West games?
Every game in the NFL is important. This is the most important one because it's our next one. The Raiders are a really good football team, and it's going to require all of our attention and a great week of preparation, of practice to have any shot on Sunday.
Max Crosby, is he one of the pass rushers that really catches your attention more so than a lot of other teams and players like that?
I think he's very good. He's one of the best at what he does, and he's definitely one of those guys you have to be aware of whenever he's on the field.
The crowd noise on Sunday, how much of a factor was it? It was like very, very loud.
It was. It's a very loud stadium, and I think the great thing that we do is we practice silent cadence all the time, and I think up front it's important for those guys being able to get off the ball. So the more we practice that, the better we are, and I think communication is big in those types of situations.
Did that compare to any other games you played in before in terms of crowd noise, both in the NFL and in college as well? Obviously, you must have played in some loud stadiums.
Yeah, I think a lot of the domes are pretty loud just because the noise echoes, and a bunch of the stadiums that we play across the place, Arrowhead. I think the Vegas stadium is very loud as well. So just having those experiences of being in loud stadiums, I think that prepared us as well.
Have you embraced this Raiders rivalry like fans and players in the 90s, 80s, whatever, or are they just another team?
I unfortunately wasn't around in the 80s or the 90s, so I don't know quite what it was like. But we know that they're a very good football team, and so we have to do our best to have a good week of practice because we know what they're capable of. So we've got to be at our best come Sunday.